I'd like to welcome everyone to our regularly scheduled Board of Aldermen meeting for November the 18th, I'm sorry, looking at the wrong date. If you'd all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Here.
Alderman Nguyen.
Here.
Alderman Robertson.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Present.
Alderman Tully.
Here.
Alderman Leahy.
Here.
Alderman Manister.
Present.
Alderman Saunders.
Here.
Hey now.
Okay.
Sorry.
A whole bunch of different kinds of answers.
There's got to be a joke there, but I can't. All right. Next item, approval of the agenda for the regular Board of Aldermen meeting for November 18, 2013. Any changes to the agenda? Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
And second?
Second, Your Honor.
We have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Don't all scream into the microphone at the same time. How's that? All right. Second item, consideration approval of the minutes from the regular Board of Aldermen meeting from November 4th, 2013. Any changes?
I have.
Alderwoman Saunders?
They're only summarized. I was sick over the weekend, and so I didn't get a chance to listen to the tape, so they're not verbatim. So do you want me to put them on hold, or do you want me to add them summarized?
Why don't we put them on hold until you review them? How's that?
Okay, thank you very
You want to
much.
make a motion?
I move that we place the November 4th, 2013 Board of Aldermen meetings on hold. Minutes on hold.
Second?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Roll call.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tully.
No.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Manister.
Yes.
Alderman Saunders.
Yes.
Okay, next item. No presentations this evening, no public hearings, bids. City Administrator.
Thank you,
Conde?
Mayor. This request is to purchase a video equipment which processes storage, playback, and broadcasting for the city's charter and AT&T channels, including the community bulletin board. At present, the system is not operational, meaning that our residents who watch this meeting and the planning and zoning meeting on the city's cable access channel are unable to because the equipment that we use to broadcast it is down. Per the city's purchasing code, we attempted to obtain 3 quotes, and one of the responders did not provide a complete quote. The second did not respond at all. Therefore, the low and best bidder is Key West out of Lenexa, Kansas. The equipment that we have at present was purchased from them back when we started this program in the late 1990s.
Mid-90s.
Mid-90s. The total cost is $2,575.07. This item will be purchased from savings in the capital improvement budget.
Okay. There's a bill on for that this evening. Any questions? Okay. Next item, item 8, hearing of any matters of public interest upon any persons present. If anybody would like to address the board, please come forward and give us your name and address.
Karen Smith, Harrison. Just noticed that the compensation, or there's a bill on the agenda for compensation survey, and just like to encourage everyone to think about passing that this time. I think it's important for us to have the information to allow you all to make informed decisions about compensation. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to introduction, reading, passage of bills. If I could have a motion for the first and second readings of bill, well, let me see.
First one's on hold.
The first one,
First two.
first one will remain on hold. We're getting that agreement in place. Is there a motion to remove bill number 5810 from hold?
So moved.
And second?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Okay. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I'm sorry. Is there opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, if I could have a motion for the second and third readings of Bill number 5810, first and second readings of Bill 5811 and 5812,
So moved.
and second.
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. First reading of Bill number 5810.
First reading Bill number 5810 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute a professional services agreement on behalf of the city of Brentwood, Missouri with Higbee Associates for comprehensive compensation consulting and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5810 is one that we have discussed at various points prior. The compensation consultant bill is for an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Brentwood and/or our city administrator to execute a professional services agreement with Higbee Associates. That's for a comprehensive compensation consulting agreement.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Alderwoman Manser?
So would this be like a study where we would have access to it, or is it just someone we would, like, it says consulting, so would it be someone that we just would contact and call to inquire and ask questions?
The recommendation was made to hire Higbee Associates to do a study. So that individual will meet with all employees, and we would set parameters on who we believe we're comparable to, and then they will gather all that information, review all job descriptions, compare benefits. It would be comprehensive what the
Okay.
consultant would do.
Pretty much just like the study that we received from another municipality that was in 2011, and had health benefits, had all the employees' wages comparisons of actually 11 of our peer cities surrounding us, 11 total, including Brentwood. Really, that was a pretty comprehensive study that the board already has, so it would just be a repeat of that and cost us $30,000. So, okay. Any other questions? Second reading, please.
Second reading Bill number 5810 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute a professional services agreement on behalf of the city of Brentwood, Missouri with Higbee Associates for comprehensive compensation consulting and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Alderman Kramer.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman Saunders may have had her hand up first.
Yeah, thank you. This is just an integral tool for us to be making decisions on individual salaries and benefits moving forward. And I think it's very important to make sure that we're comparing apples and apples, job responsibilities line up. Whereas with some of the material, I've looked at some of the Frontenac 2011 items. The salaries I'm a little bit uncertain about with all the changes we've made. And there's definite benefits that no other municipality offers. So, you know, that portion is there and to speak to that. But I would feel better if we would complete our own compensation survey. We haven't done one since the 1980s. And at my Ward 1 meeting, one of the residents likened this. They used the analogy that, you know, the state auditors told us to go out and get bids. And this is exactly what a compensation survey does. It's bids. It's what's to be competitive in the market. It shows you where you stand within the market. And then as a Board of Aldermen, we set the goal of where we want to be. Do we want to be the top? Do we want to be in the top 5? Do we want to be the 70th percentile? And, you know, if we decide it's the top 5, that's fine. I lean towards the higher end because I do believe it prevents turnover. But the top doesn't have to exceed the top by 10,000. So we really need to get a handle on where our salaries and how our positions line up in the market. And I think it's a very important tool, and I hope that we're able to get this passed tonight.
Alderman Kramer.
Your Honor, if I could, I apologize. I'm very much aware that there are some philosophical differences on this particular bill. We have discussed it for a good period of time in the Ways and Means Committee and also here at the aldermanic level. I think it's important for the city to have a very timely and up-to-date benchmark in place of the salaries and benefits and the study of the job descriptions, positions of our city in particular for us to be able to make informed decisions regarding compensation and benefits in the future. There have been conversations about what types of decisions those might be. One of those that I advocate is the contemplation of caps for various positions, so that as we continue to award merits for jobs well done across the city lines, that there is a limit to how far we can go based upon our position in the marketplace. I think this allows us to do our job effectively, and I'm hopeful that it does pass as well. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have second reading?
We did have a second reading, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Is there a motion?
I move that we perfect Bill 5810 into ordinance form.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Alderman Harper,
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen,
No.
Alderman Robertson,
No.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Tui,
No.
Alderman Leahy,
No.
Alderman Manister,
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
No. First reading of bill number 5811.
First reading Bill Number 5811 by title only, an ordinance vacating certain right-of-way owned by the city which were previously dedicated to the city of Brentwood and are no longer necessary for the purposes for which such interests were dedicated.
Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5811, the request to vacate a portion of the Warren Avenue right-of-way. This bill is for an ordinance vacating certain right-of-way owned by the city, which were previously dedicated to the city of Brentwood and are no longer necessary for the purposes for which such interests were dedicated. The applicant is requesting the city vacate the southern 8 feet of the variable width right-of-way of Warren Avenue along the northern boundary line of a residence at 2441 Lewis Avenue. The location of the site at 2441 Lewis and Warren Avenue right-of-way adjacent to 2441 Lewis are the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation for approval.
Okay. Any questions? Alderman Leahy?
If I may, and I guess Boulder, if you'll help me out of this, or Justin,
Justin.
if you'll come forward.
Could I, actually?
If you could, I'm looking at the map that's attached to the bill.
Full disclosure, this was actually my parents' old house, my mom's house.
Thank you. Okay.
And when they bought the house when we moved there in 1967, there was existing fencing for the yard, which was there until this gentleman bought the house and removed all the fencing. And it ran, for those of you that walk that area, ran right next to the old path from Lewis that went up to Cecilia. The chain link fence was right up against the old path. And once he removed that fence, redid the house, redid the yard, regraded it, put down new sod and so forth, and then went to install his new fence. It wasn't until then that he realized that that 8 feet that they're requesting us to vacate there was actually had never been dedicated over to the property. So in essence, since 1967, the former owners, meaning our family, had always maintained that property, but it had never been technically deeded back to the property owners in vacating that right away. So at that point, when he went to install his new fence, he found out he couldn't do that. And so Ellen was here at the time, and she suggested that they go through this process of asking the city to vacate that 8 feet so that he could put his fence back up. But again, that's the way it had been for a very long time, unbeknownst to the property owners or when they bought the house at that point. So.
All right. Now, Justin, if I can still stay
Sure.
in.
No, that's fine.
in
I
with
just wanted to give you the history of what it
Well,
was.
the map leads me that if he's getting, Justin, I'm going to do it visually. If he's picking up this area here, we are not affecting this walkway that's there at all.
That is correct.
So he just extends out. Now, what was supposed to be there in that footage? Anything that the city's just never, ever done anything with
We've
the
just
8
never
feet.
had anything there. And that's part of the reason this process is kind of stalled along a little bit and coming through the process is we did go through, we did make sure there were no utilities in there, that there was free and clean. And so we have the utilities, you can see where they're located.
Yep, you've got
on the
your
existing
dotted
lot.
lines in there.
Right. And
All right.
so we've never had anything in there.
Now,
Correct?
if we give permission and he puts his fencing back up, is his fencing gonna go right along the walkway? To the point that I now have too tight of a walkway for people to go down? That was the other concern.
Well, go ahead.
There's two walkways in that area.
Yes.
And just a minor point of clarification. So we're talking about the narrower section. It'll be in the same location that the previous fence was, essentially.
So we
So
have,
you're going to be slightly off of the path. It's not going to be directly on top.
Technically, and Jim would, I think, probably agree with me, that asphalt should probably be removed. That's the original one from way back when. It's only about 3 feet wide. It doesn't meet ADA. It's very steep at the end. And when they put in the new path, which is much further away, they just left that there because kids walk down that way. But it's not, it hasn't been maintained really, hasn't been patched or anything in years.
this section in here, Justin,
That
is
part,
city
the old part?
property.
Okay, my mistake.
That is correct.
All of this is city. We're just giving up this section here.
That is correct.
Okay. No questions, sir.
I do have a question. Excuse me, Justin. Is the 8-foot strip next to the Espy residence or property to the west, is that vacated?
So the property immediately adjacent to this one is not vacated. I do not believe so. To be honest, I would have to pull up a plat and get a final plat of that, but I haven't seen anything through this process that would indicate that it is.
Well, I'm just a little concerned about restricting our access through there. Plus, I mean, when the new property owner bought it, didn't the county notify him that his property was 8 feet?
No, they had done a survey and they put the stake in, but he didn't notice that the stake wasn't at the corner of the property. It was actually by the fence back up there. I will say along that right-of-way, in the past, in situations like that, the city has granted these vacations, and the perfect example is, again, years ago, when I was in high school, when the request from the residents on Douglas Avenue, or Douglas Court, asked the city to vacate their the right-of-way because the street was never put in there. And so if you go up there and look now, as you get to the west, that's where we basically have a 4-foot strip through there to get to Cecilia now. I think we vacated almost 20 feet on each of those yards along Douglas Court, whereas that used to be, I think, 50 feet wide all the way through there, all the way from Cecilia down to Litzinger. This one wouldn't have any effect, really, from a use standpoint, because in this area, it would still be almost 50 feet wide. Right? Is that correct? I don't have that.
Right, I mean, closer to Lewis Avenue, it's much wider, but approximately in that, on the far eastern end, it would be even wider than that. At the narrowest, it would end up at 47.3 feet.
Right. And the house directly behind it, if you walk up the path, if you can picture that, the path runs right up along the property there, but it's a steep grade up to their driveway, and it's not even usable land from that standpoint.
Okay.
I don't know where their property line is, but their driveway's within 3 feet of that. It's just up a hill.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
sorry, I had to give
So-
my history. So.
Can I,
Alderman Saunders?
so are we saying that this walkway here, then there's going to be a fence that's directly adjacent, right, butts up to the walkway, his fence will,
Effectively, it's going to be pretty close right next to that one.
right, there'll be no green space?
There might be a small strip along there.
And what type of fence will it be?
The applicant is here. and
Is
he
it,
would
is it
probably-
already built? It's not-
No.
They have
they
a
haven't
portion,
installed
they have not built this section of the fence. They've been holding off until they've gotten the process done. I believe.
What
it
is
wood
the
fence?
current fence?
6-foot privacy wood fence.
Okay. And the fence before was a chain link, you said,
Yeah.
Mayor Kelly?
It was a 4-foot chain link fence.
4 foot, and it abutted directly, it's the same place to the walk?
Yeah, right along the walkway there.
So is that, from, that walkway, that standpoint, I did not go and look at the property, and I didn't get there, but, is it good not to have any green space on the other side of that?
Given that our more compliant walkway is located further away, the wider walkway is our kind of more official and more compliant, more accessible route through that area. So we don't have any concerns with that.
Will we continue to keep this walk, though?
We will, unless at some point if we decide to take it out, we could.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill Number 5811 by title only, an ordinance vacating certain right-of-way owned by the city which were previously dedicated to the city of Brentwood and are no longer necessary for the purposes for which such interests were dedicated.
Okay,
Can
any
I-
questions?
One
Alderman
more.
Saunders.
Just, when you closed, did you receive a survey so that, were you aware at all, or you didn't know that this wasn't the part of the property?
I didn't do it until I got the money for the fence up.
Okay,
Regardless of it, bought the property anyways.
okay. Okay, thank you, thank you.
All right, we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second, Your Honor.
We have first and second. Alderman Nguyen was first, Alderman Kramer second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Manister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5811 is now ordinance number 4476.
Thank you. First reading of bill number 5812. Oh, I'm sorry.
Question, now that we've made this action, who does the correction in the filing at St. Louis County?
We'll have a new plat made that we have to sign, either Bowl or I, once this has been approved. Okay. Sure.
We've been working with the applicants already to get that plat. We've got the plat waiting for all the
signatures and
signatures.
stuff.
And so we will sign off on it. We'll give it to the applicant. They're responsible for filing it with St. Louis County, returning a copy to the city.
Okay, thank you. First reading of bill number 5812.
First reading, Bill Number 5812 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a business associate agreement between EMS Management and Consultants and the city of Brentwood, Missouri, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, this is a business associate agreement for Bill 5812, covering an ordinance authorizing our city's mayor and/or city administrator to execute a business associate agreement with EMS Management and Consulting Incorporated, that to protect the medical information obtained by the Brentwood Fire Department during their performance of duties and responsibilities. The agreement is required per the Health and Information Portability Act, otherwise known as HIPAA. The EMS Management and Consultants, EMS-MC, for ambulance and billing services, and ESO Solutions, electronic patient care reporting, the EPCR software, which will be used for patient care reporting on Brentwood's ambulance agreements, were passed at the October 21st, 2013 Board of Aldermen meeting.
Thank you. Any questions? Second read, please.
Second reading, Bill Number 5812 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a business associate agreement between EMS Management and Consultants and the city of Brentwood, Missouri, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, any other questions? We have a motion?
Motion to, go ahead, sir.
No.
Motion to perfect Bill 5812 into ordinance form.
And second?
I'll second that.
Motion is made by Alderman Leahy, second by Alderman Robertson. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5812 is now ordinance number 4477.
Thank you. Next item, accounts against the city.
Your Honor, we have a warrant list before you in the amount of $50,530.19. Have reviewed it, recommended its approval. Pending any questions?
Alderman Leahy.
Question, if someone can explain the outdoor solution bill?
That's who does the
That
maintenance
is
on.
for the Gateway Enhancement Project.
To work with, but I have a 200-pound seed arrangement.
Right.
Okay, where to maintain the property? Can we forward that bill over to the Missouri Highway Department because they actually own the property? We're doing the water feature, but I thought the grass and shrubs were theirs.
No, we installed them.
We didn't, so we get hit with this one,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I'll second Mr. Kramer's motion to approve the warrant list.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, reports of committee and department heads. Under the mayor's report, I'd just like to remind the board, and we will be having the Municipal League monthly meeting here this Thursday. The meeting starts at 7, well, be here at 7, I think it actually starts at 7:30. And all the elected officials that can attend would be great to welcome the municipal league here. Public safety,
We have a meeting Thursday.
great. Public Works Committee,
No report, we do have a meeting Wednesday.
thank you. Director of Planning, update on the watering bowl.
Thank you. I believe it's been about a week and a half ago now. Staff did provide the written response from the owner of the watering bowl to the Board of Aldermen. That went out, and at this point, we have no other updates.
Okay, anybody have any questions or? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ways and Means Committee,
Yes, Your Honor, we just recently had a meeting, and we have provided a recommendation to the full board regarding the 2014 budget. That will be advanced for your perusal and hopefully voting on the night of December the 2nd here in Chambers.
great. City Attorney,
No report, Your Honor.
City Clerk,
Actually, Mayor, if it would be all right, I'd like Chief Jury to come present this next time.
sure. Chief,
We have on the list 2 write-offs, ambulance billing write-offs. These went to Ways and Means, and they approved them at their most recent meeting. This is the first time it's come before this board, part of the auditor. We're taking it to Ways and Means and then to the full Alderman. So we have is 2 requests for write-offs, one totaling $160. This is a distribution for Missouri lien law, and the other request is a write-off for $343, which is for a estate. So the total write-off is $503.
so these were ambulance, just so the public understands, these were ambulance EMS calls that weren't covered by their insurance.
That's
or
correct.
did not
These are
have insurance.
non-residents, these were not covered by insurance, and these are essentially bills that we'll never collect. So.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Motion to approve writing off the uncollectible.
And second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, Excise Commissioner, not present, but we have 2 temporary liquor licenses before us this evening. We'll do them independently. Okay. First one is for, actually, I believe the Community Center for Alderman Leahy's having a event, a family Christmas party on December 22nd. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So this is for, so that they can have beer and wine at their event. Do I have a motion for approval?
I must abstain, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion for approval, Your Honor.
And second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. Second temporary is for Immerse by Atlas, again, a business and handling industrial court for an event that they're having. They have a couple times a year, I believe, for their staff and or clientele. You have a motion?
Motion to approve their liquor license for November 21st.
Okay, and second?
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Library, anything further? Thank you. Municipal League? Nothing further. Historical Society?
I understand that Sunday afternoon, they had a wonderful tea. My wife took another lady, and I just stayed home. But I understand they had a men's table, so next year I may actually go. No, they had a great time and really did well. And my wife, first comment she made was, ugh, when she came home, so I figured they had plenty to eat.
They did, yes. Great, okay. We do not have a closed session tonight. Any unfinished business? Alderman Saunders?
Yes, I wanted to ask Alderman Toohey why he had changed his mind on the compensation survey. And then also Alderman Nguyen, you always reference to when you worked for the school district and taught for the school district and the school district always has a compensation survey. They always know where they stand in relation to other schools, and it's a valuable tool. And so do you think that that's important part of your job to make sure that you're being responsible with the residents' tax dollars?
I definitely say it is, but that's my opinion is I'm opposed to it.
Is there a reason why, though, or?
I'm opposed to it.
But I mean, why? You don't like it?
I'm just opposed to it. I'll just say that. I don't really, and there's people sitting out here, I've been at this game a while too.
That's
I
fine.
don't like to call it a game, but I just feel like when I vote, and I vote what my heart says to vote. I feel that the mayor had some good points. I'd rather go that route than another route, and that's about the best I can do.
Thank you.
I'll comment. I do agree it's a good tool, but like anything else, if you have the best tool in the world, if you don't have someone that knows how to use it properly, it's ineffective. And I don't think this board would use that tool properly. So I voted against it because it'd be wasting money.
Your Honor, we do have another item.
Yeah, we do, the establish.
Can I ask, though, Alderman Tui, how would we not use it properly?
Be used for vindictive, selfish reasons towards employees.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Establishment of the an audit committee. After the following the last meeting, I would like to apologize to the board because I didn't see some of the directives that were for the audit committee that were actually on the back page. I wasn't used to having things printed on the back pages of something, so I'm used to having 2 pages. So that was my mistake. But I still think that we, after seeing that and understanding that, I still believe that we need to have more direction and understanding what an audit committee would actually do. I drafted, after doing some research, what I think is something else that the board could review. For an audit committee, it outlines the establishment in a resolution form instead of an ordinance, and which it could be made into ordinance. It doesn't, that part, it doesn't make any difference. But I think a couple of significant changes were, one, the selection process with the audit committee. I've never seen any voluntary where you're asking people to volunteer and serve for any kind of advisory committee where they need to turn in a resume, go through a 90-day interview process and evaluation, and then selection in order to serve as a volunteer. I think you would turn away a lot of people that would need to go through that. I also think that the responsibility and guidelines of what an audit committee is going to do should be specifically outlined. I think I've tried to do that here in researching and looking what other municipalities' guidelines of what audit committees are there for is really to oversee the audit process for our community. One of their primary functions is to review and evaluate the independent auditor, that recommendation to the city, then to review the actual audit process and go over that with the auditors, go over that with staff, and then make a recommendation and any input back to the full board of that process, including internal controls and those kinds of things. And I think that's outlined in here. I also don't think you should limit an audit committee to just CPAs. I think there's a lot of professional business people that could have, especially in our community, that could give good input and guidance through that process. We have judges that live in Brentwood. We have judges that are retired that live in Brentwood. We have many attorneys that work in the business world dealing with organizations from a financing standpoint all the time. And I think that their input would be valued on an audit committee as well. And I think the one example I will use that I think has been a frustration for the city at times is our architectural review board. When we made that restricted to specifically architects, we find it very difficult in the city of Brentwood to find people that want to serve on that committee. And if you look at what other cities have done in setting up architectural review boards, they aren't necessarily all architects, but people have interest in that, and their input is welcome in there. So I don't think you should limit who can apply and be on an audit committee. I think there's a lot of good people that could give that input. So I drafted this just to have something else to compare to and to, that people could discuss. and if we move forward with the audit committee. So, Alderwoman Saunders.
Well, first of all, since this has just been given to us, I suggest we take it back to Ways and Means and that we take a look at that, give it fair consideration. I had also brought forward material from the accounting board. I can't remember which exact accounting board, but I brought the materials forward. I'm sorry I don't have them with me. But there is an audit committee toolkit that's designed for governmental agencies. And I think it would be valuable, I believe it's less than $100, to go ahead and maybe take a look at that. And then, another comment, but I can't, it escapes me. Let's see, the toolkit. Oh, and within that material that I had provided, there's also where you can sign up online, where other accountants, they get continuing credit for, CPAs, but they can sign up and be part of this, where they'll come in and maybe be part of your audit committee, and vice versa. You can be part of someone else's committee. It's like a volunteer where there's this database so that you can also help recruit, not just residents, but someone from the outside that's specializes in accounting and auditing, and they can come and serve on your committee. Do you see? And then vice versa, you can sign up and serve on somebody else's committee, and so it's just a totally independent, another set of eyes, and then they get, I want to say continuing legal education, but continuing education credit, I guess, towards maintaining the CPA.
Okay. Alderman Kramer?
Yes, Your Honor. Certainly appreciate the work that you put together on the audit committee proposal that you have for us here this evening. And I do think an audit committee is important for our city to entertain. It's an independent set of eyes. I have to admit I am candidly a little bit confused, though, because the initial idea for the audit committee came from our auditors, who recommended either expanding the role of our Ways and Means Committee or forming this independent group that would ostensibly report to the Ways and Means Committee. With that in mind, without any input that I'm aware of from our committee, our city administrator drafted what we have before us here this evening. And
No, I drafted this.
No, this here, the
Okay.
original presentation.
Well, I was told that Alderman Toohey did that, or had an input into that through
Well,
the
if
committee.
I could finish. If
Okay.
I could finish. The original presentation, to my knowledge, was formatted by our city administrator. Then it was brought to committee, and the committee decided to make some changes to it. But during that whole process, we deliberated in good faith with what we were presented, and the conversations that we had, I believe, were genuine. I think that it's a good idea to have an audit committee, and however way that it's formed, I do believe that the audit committee should be an advisory to the Ways and Means and not to the full board. When it's an advisory to the full board, in a sense, you're having or authorizing a separate Ways and Means Committee. I think that for the Ways and Means Committee that exists right now to do the best job they can for the city, to receive this independent feedback from these experienced individuals that have knowledge in certified public accounting or other fields that have to do with numbers specifically and auditing would be a benefit to the city, and it could never hurt. That being said, certainly happy to take a look at this again, and we'll bring it back to the committee and debate it and bring back another recommendation.
Okay. Alderman, I'm sorry. And let me clarify it when I said Alderman Toohey, because I think in talking to both Alderman Toohey and the city administrator, I think those discussions or what was drafted was brought out of discussions from the Ways and Means meeting, and that's where BOA had put that together for the committee, and you had discussed it. I think Alderman Toohey mentioned to me that he had made a couple of the recommendations in there. I was wondering what my input would be in changing that, and that's when I drafted this. So I don't want to speak for Alderman Toohey or make it sound like he said he drafted that entire thing. That he did not say that. So Alderman Toohey.
Sure. I did put some ideas on this. My real vision for the audit committee was sometimes you're going to have disagreements between what your auditors say and what management's actually feasible. I mean, the auditors work a lot in just theory. Your management actually works in the day-to-day operations. Somewhere in the middle of these two parties, you have to make a decision. mean, what I'd like to see this committee really do is just focus just on audits, be a body that would give a recommendation to the board and say, between this discrepancy, here's what we think you should do. It's up to the board or Ways and Means. I don't think it matters which one makes the ultimate decision. It's up to that body, governing body, to decide what to do. But I don't think there's enough technical ability as the board members as a whole or Ways and Means as a whole to make those decisions. So I think having this example of a group of auditors, CPAs, or accountants, I mean, whatever term you want to use, professionals in that field should make the recommendations. I don't think it would be a very good idea to expand it to attorneys and corporate officers. I just don't think they have the experience and the detail of deciphering recommendations from an accounting firm and management's ideas for best practices. I mean, I'm a CPA. I've passed the legal portion of the CPA exam, but no one's going to have me be the attorney for the city. I wouldn't know the first thing I'm doing. I don't think attorneys can come be auditors and get that technical of the aspects. So that's my thought process. But the overall point was just to be an open body that would give an opinion on any disagreements between our auditors and management. The whole point of it being open to citizens was that way Brentwood citizens become aware, people who have professional training. I don't think, the residents would have an issue as far as information not being disclosed like has been thought in the past. So that was the methodology behind my thinking when working with the Ways and Means to get this out there.
I appreciate that. Alderman Sanders.
Alderman Toohey, that's your opinion now. Do you think we can handle the information from the audit committee? Is this board capable of handling it? Are you going to stick with that opinion, or I'm just asking?
Not necessarily, because part of it, I guess my thinking is, if you have our auditors give some best practice, say this is the way they think we should handle business, and our management staff said that's not possible, this is our recommendation. If you have a group of people who have been doing this for a while, they can draw upon their real practical business experience and maybe draw upon other clients they've seen similar situations on and make those recommendations. That's why I'd like to see professionals in the field do it, as opposed to a board that hasn't really ever experienced.
Right.
And it's just a recommendation. I mean, the ultimate decision's with this board, but I like the idea of professional staff, professional residents who see this as their money and have a vested interest.
No, my question is just, are we, this board capable? Are we mature enough to handle their recommendations? Compensation surveys prepared by professionals, but I guess some of us on the board are vindictive and can't use the information properly. Will we be able to do the same with an audit committee?
I think you just answered that question for me.
Well, I'm tired of Alderman Toohey throwing me under the bus. He insulted me at Ways and Means. He constantly has a negative
Can
comment.
we just stick to this, and you guys can work that out on your own? Again, I think the comments are well taken, and I think you can see there is a little bit difference of opinion on some of the structure of this. Again, I am in favor of having an audit committee. I do think, though, it is important that it report back and be an independent audit committee through that evaluation process, and it should make its recommendations back to the full board in order to make sure that any recommendations are carried out. It just as a reminder, our subcommittees really do not have any authority to take any action without the support of the full board. And the goal here, I think, is to make sure that the information gets to the Board of Aldermen. I think in the past, from what we've been able to decipher, is that sometimes the information didn't get to the board in order to take action. I'm not saying that it was on purpose or it was done intentionally, but I think that some of the issues of the past have been brought to the full board. Some other action would have been taken. So I think the goal is to make sure that we have an independent body that's overseeing that process and make sure that that information comes here and those recommendations come here so that the board makes that decision on what action to take and what not to take. So, and I appreciate everybody taking the time to review that and taking it back to Ways and Means for your review. And if you'd like me to answer any questions about it after you look at it or at your meeting, I'd be happy to do that. So, any new business? Alderman Lane.
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, I would like to thank the city of Brentwood and the residents of Brentwood. The Boy Scouts of America held their 38th annual Scouting for Food drive. The city was kind enough to allow us to use the old firehouse bays as a collection center. This year, we collected 357 boxes of food from the Brentwood area. That's up from 234 boxes last year, so we're moving in the right direction. The demand is still out there. There are an awful lot of people that do need food and assistance. For the entire week, this week, the region banks will also serve as a collections point for anybody who, for whatever reason, bags didn't get picked up or got out late and didn't get collected. They can still drop them off at the banks. And again, we'd like to thank the citizens for helping make the food collection a worthwhile and successful event.
Okay. That's an amazing increase.
Yes, it was really good. There is a couple of things that did go on that one of the Boy Scout leaders at 61 had a Mexican store that was going out of business, and they donated a lot of their cans instead of just disposing, and took the tax credit that got turned over here to Brentwood for our numbers to get counted in, so we'll take it.
Yeah, that's great.
To work with. Second, community news, if I may, Your Honor.
Sure.
The Ward 3 meeting for the month of November is next Tuesday night, the 25th. We will have it just prior to Thanksgiving, 7 p.m. up here at the council room. All are invited. Thank you, Your Honor.
Great. Alderman Saunders?
Yes, I wanted to bring up, since next December 2nd, the budget will be coming before us. I'd spoken with Bola and kind of went through some of my questions, but in order for us to entertain any changes to the budget, direction has to be given from the board for them to look at anything. So this employee benefits 2013, this structure that Julie had presented, which shows the employee paid portion and the employer paid portion, I would like to move that we have staff contact the other 26 municipalities that participate in SLATE and find out their breakdown of this information. Then it would be current numbers, and we would know where we stand.
Breakdown of what? As an example?
Exactly this information. Well, it shows since it's all through SLATE, so what the individual employee pays, and then the employer portion for the various plans. They're all listed here. And then we would have information in making decisions. You know, the 7% increase in the premiums, it is shared by the employees because the prorated, I went back and pulled my 2012, and their portion does increase. Do you know what I mean? So that they're still sharing in an increased, as long as I'm comparing, their portion's increasing. So it's not like they're not sharing in the cost, but it would be helpful to have the information when making decisions as a part of our responsibility to the residents. And as I said before, at the last Ways and Means meeting, I wasn't trying to be vindictive. I said the compensation survey, if we could hold the 2% merit increase, and then once we got the survey, retroactive to January, still distribute the raises, but it was, as Alderman Kramer said, you know, in individuals, the high end may be so high that when you add 2%, that's a big number as compared to a 40,000, 2%. And it could be, too, that some people are underpaid. So maybe we could, once we know where people stand in the market, or where we stand in the market, maybe some people should get like 3% and somebody else only 1%, as long as we still say in that same pool. But it would be retroactive to January 1st. So I think we owe it to the residents, and so this would just be a matter of picking up the phone. I mean, I could do it myself, but it's kind of embarrassing when you have to call another city as an alderwoman. You don't have the information at your hands. So would anyone be willing to second that motion?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to the information we got from a study that was done by a neighboring city from 2011. And it had insurance information and breakdown. It has
just get this information for the other cities.
for, I believe, has all the information that you're asking for Brentwood, Chesterfield, Clayton, Creve Coeur, De Pere.
It's 2011 numbers, Mayor
Kirkwood,
Kelly,
Ladue,
and this will be
Maplewood.
2000.
Excuse me, I'm not done. Ladue, Richmond Heights, Olivet, Shrewsbury, and Town and Country. And again, the information may be 2 years old, but I think it would be pretty close to being the same today. It gives how much each employee contributes, how much they contribute towards the family plan. It talks about whether they offer dental or eye insurance, how much the cities pay, how much the co-pays are for health insurance, how much. And so, again, you can go out and get that information today from, or you could use this as your basis as a guideline. We could go out and collect all this information again today, and in a month from now, it'll be, it could be considered obsolete because it's not today's information. This is a good basis to start with to do any kind of analysis. Again, I think staff is spending a lot of time putting information together. The point is, when we're looking at these things is, do you think what we're paying our employees is too much? Do you think that the health insurance and the benefits that we're giving to our employees to support their families is too much? And I think I don't really want to compare ourselves to the other municipalities. I would prefer the other municipalities compare themselves to us. And I don't think we are overboard on what we do for our employees, given what they do for our community. We had guys come in yesterday on a Sunday, right after that storm, before the rain had even stopped, and they're clearing the streets. We have the police and firemen that are on the streets 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and people could probably care less until they need them, and they will be there. So I don't have any problem with the salaries that we pay them or the benefits that we offer them. I want to have the best for our employees, and I don't think it's overboard. This is a good basis to look at to show you that we're not overboard. The same study had the salaries of the city administrators, the police chiefs, the fire chiefs, the director of planning, the public works worker, had all that information in there. And I think it's a waste of time to have staff put a whole nother report together, and the decision comes down to, what do you want to give our employees? I don't think we need to compare ourselves to other people. That's my opinion. So,
Mayor.
was there a second to that? No.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Mayor
Motion.
Kelly,
yeah,
my
I'm
hand's
sorry.
been up.
What's the motion exactly?
The motion was to have
I'll show you the copy of the schedule.
another study done of 20, well, it takes time, and it would be a study. Of the 26 municipalities that are slated, or 24?
27.
27 municipalities are on slate, and see what benefits, health and benefits and how they distribute to their employees. It's more than just making a simple phone call.
And there's also then with regards to, and again, I disagree with you as far as, yes, I mean, I'd love to pay, double what we pay, but I still believe that it is our fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we're competitive in the market and not to be way outside the market. And
I don't think we are.
Well, you and I can just agree to disagree on that. What,
So are you
like I
saying
said,
our
no,
employees
I
are
don't
overpaid?
the information, I'm just not sure. I would feel more comfortable if we had our own study when making decisions about employees' salaries and that. So that's fine. You disagree with me on that. But this here is just employee health care. Times are changing and the costs are increasing, and there's a $63 annual fee this year. And we went to talk to Bull. I said, 289 participants. How do we have that many? We don't have that many employees, but we're also picking up the fee for all the dependents too. And
Not
we
all.
can't just.
The families contribute.
No, not for this new fee, the $63 fee.
Yeah, the belly button tax. It's a federal, under Obamacare, for those of you who don't know, every organization that provides insurance, remember our insurance wasn't going up, every organization that provides insurance for their employees, either through a plan or self-insured, for everyone that is on that insurance policy, That's why it's called a belly button tax, is the nickname for it. So if an employee has himself, his wife, and his 3 kids, that's 5 belly buttons. They have to pay a $63 a year fee, at least for the next 3 years. Under the Obamacare, that was supposed to go into a special fund that would be set up for those people that were uninsurable in the past. That fee is being assessed against, again, and we are self-insured through Slate, and we have to pay that for all of our employees that we currently have insurance for. So,
And all of their dependents.
And, well, everybody's on the policy. But that wasn't something that, we asked for. That's something that the federal government is charging back to the employers and the employees. Again, that's where that's coming from. So,
Is that what BOLA, it says
That's
the money will
correct.
be used to fund a transitional reinsurance
That's
program to help stabilize the individual market?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's a belly button tax. But regardless, again, it's something that we should look at. It's new, and should the city pay for all of that? Because the employees do share in the employee and family coverage. Individual employees get their coverage for free, but they do share in if they have a spouse or family or dependents on the coverage. They're just questions that I think deserve
well,
a
again,
conversation.
I think the city can afford to do that for our employees. And, it wasn't something that necessarily they all asked for.
Well, I understand. You believe if we've got it, spend it.
Right. No,
Well,
sure,
I disagree.
okay, that's fine. Just one other comment, on that side note, for the audience, you may want to, there's an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal today on this topic, actually. The administration is actually going to waive this fee to one of our biggest private insurers in the United States, meaning the large unions that provide insurance for all their members. They won't have to pay the belly button tax, but all the other organizations will. So, a little frustrating, I think, from a business standpoint. So, Alderman Nguyen?
Well, I was just thinking, a week from Thursday, it's going to be Thanksgiving. I'd kind of like to come to the end of this meeting helping us all to realize we have an awful lot to be thankful for. We live in the greatest nation. We live in the most wonderful position that we could have. And I just hope that everyone, my suggestion would be that if you want to really do something for the city, go out and do something nice for somebody else. And let's all pass along, and let's have a Thanksgiving that God would be proud of.
Okay,
I'll second that, Mr. Wynn.
I think we had a motion, though.
The motion was, I'm sorry, Alderman.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Did you
understand,
understand that? Kind of got away and off track, sorry. Okay, so the motion is to have staff conduct this analysis or study. Alderman Kramer.
Yes, Your Honor. If I could make a comment before the vote. As the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, those who have attended our meetings may be already understand my point of view in terms of trying to be fiscally responsible. I think everyone who's in this room tonight would like to be as attentive to that need as possible. I was only prepared to make a change or contemplate any adjustments in our compensation or our benefits as a result of our compensation and benefit study. Based upon this evening's vote, that doesn't seem to be possible at this juncture. What I am concerned about with this particular vote, and why I probably will not be voting in affirmative, is I'm concerned about us only having part of the picture before we start making changes. And while the information may be timely and might be up to date, I don't know that it would be the same type of information that we would get from a comprehensive survey such as Higbee Associates proposed for us. So I certainly understand Alderwoman Saunders' initiative, and I think for us to try to come on December the 2nd and start contemplating cuts or changes to the employees' benefits at that juncture would be deleterious to the morale. And for that reason, I make my comments.
Whoa, way to get that word.
My hand was up. Alderman Kramer, last year, I had proposed the compensation survey, And then we had the excess money from the pilots, and you wanted to go ahead and give it to up to 3% raises last year since we could use the pilots towards the reserves. So this got pushed again. Now, April 30th, we approved this back then, but the timing and all of the delays for this to come, it's always pushed until it's budget time, and it's a very sensitive topic, and so nobody wants to touch it. And so once again, here we are in the same situation, and then we're just going to go blindly and give raises. Now, Mayor Kelly says we have the information. So if we have the information, we need to really delve. If we think that's good information, we have to take that and we have to do our tasks. The other thing, too, is this is just a benefit thing. This is just the other participants, they have the same premium, or they've made other choices. We want to know what they're doing. We're not asking, this doesn't vary for positions. And if safety, public safety, gets more benefits because they put their life at risk every day, fire and police, and they get, more benefits than the rest of the employees, then so be it. Their life is at risk every day. And so we need to adjust. But we need to find out what's going on in the marketplace.
Well, our public safety doesn't get additional benefits with respect to
I'm just
health
saying, though,
insurance.
if other cities handle it that way, maybe we
don't.
should consider.
Well, I've never seen that, but that's fine. Okay.
Let's vote.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to just say something. I benefit from the health insurance. I'm married to a police sergeant here in Brentwood, and our son, who's 15, has a very serious kidney disease. And I would never support anything that that would take benefits away from any city employee, because that would not certainly make any sense for my family, my child, my husband, my son. I don't think this is not something that we want to have done to take benefits away. It's just something to, again, like Alderman Saunders said, it's a tool to look at what other cities are doing. But I would never support anything or second anything that would take away health insurance benefits from city employees. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Roll call, or vote, please. I'm sorry.
You want roll call?
Roll call, yes.
Alderman Harper?
No.
Alderman Nguyen?
No.
Alderman Robertson?
No.
Alderman Kramer?
No.
Alderman Tui?
No.
Alderman Leahy?
No.
Alderman Manister?
Yes.
Alderman Saunders?
Yes.
Okay. Next item, I'm sorry,
Are
Alderman
we still
Kramer.
under new business, Your Honor?
Yes, we are.
Did you want to, you may have already had plans to mention our holiday party, and what do you contemplate as our schedule for December?
Oh, actually, good point. Thank you. The holiday party is on December, no, it's a Monday in between, so it would be
Be the 9th or the 16th.
Monday the 9th. And that would be at the rec center, 5 o'clock till 7, I believe. And that's open to the public, and everybody's welcome, and please stop by.
It's the 8th, I'm sorry.
8th.
But isn't the 8th on a Sunday?
That's a
The 8th?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that a Monday?
The it's
It's
the
gotta be the
2nd,
7th is the
9th, and
Yeah.
16th are the 3 Mondays.
Right.
So it should be the
So
9th.
it's the 9th.
Lola would be there on the 8th, but everybody else would be on there.
She'll make sure that the beer and wine is cold.
Absolutely.
And then the other item really is that our second meeting will be the
16th.
16th. I do not perceive anything from a planning and zoning being on that meeting, or is there? There will
Yes.
be? Okay, well, never mind, then we'll have that meeting, okay?
Grinch.
Yeah,
Grinch.
exactly.
No, no.
Who could possibly want you to do something? No, that's fine.
Just so they can open on the 1st of the year.
All right,
And
so, all right, Alderman,
Just one other thing, and if I'm not mistaken, today is Alderwoman Manister's birthday.
31.
I was gonna say,
I thought it was
luckily
21.
she's not at an age where you don't want to have that announced anymore,
I
so.
believe you.
So, happy birthday. So, all right, hearing of any matter of persons present, if anybody'd like to address the board, please come forward and give us your name and address.
I enjoy life.
Happy birthday, Cindy. Couple things. I thought I read in the budget that the reserve grew to 34% in 2 years.
So that's a significant improvement. If we had 4% in the prior year, and we're going to be up to 34%. I don't know if I captured that correctly. I read it quickly. Second thing is, I attended the Historical Society tea. They did a lovely job, and men were there. I invited them.
They were there, yes,
Yes, they
you're
were.
right.
They did a lovely job. And the third thing is, sometimes in life, you get to do, you get a second chance to do the right thing. It restores trust and integrity. And so I'd like to thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? And
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, we are adjourned.